You are listening to Radiolex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky. I am Mark Royse, the general manager of Radiolex, and I am pleased today to be joined by Renee and Warren Cobb, who are, Renee's the host of Overtones Live and started here at Radiolex from the very beginning, and we're going to hear one of the great things that Renee does and Radiolex is able to do is support local artists and give folks a platform, and we can't do it without the community. We are community radio. We're supported by community radio, and today we're celebrating 8 on the 8th. We have been on the air for 8 years, and from 8 a.m. this morning to 8 p.m. tonight, we're going to have special live programming all day, surprise guests, pop-up interviews, and we've been listening to some great local music with Renee. But before we go any further, I want to ask folks to donate at radiolex.us/donate, and we are trying to get 8 donations an hour. Any amount counts. And if you donate during the hour, you'll be registered to win a bunch of prizes that we have. And then anyone who gives between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. will be registered for our 2 grand prizes. But I'm excited to have a couple of prizes to give away for our 12 o'clock hour and 1 o'clock hour. So we are, Carolyn Patterson and Rachel Hampson are both going to get 2 tickets each to the Kentucky Theater for a movie of their choice. And the Kentucky Theater has been one of our long-standing community partners. We had a very important event there called On Common Ground. And the Kentucky's great. It's so much fun to go there and see movies. So 2 tickets again for Carolyn Patterson and 2 tickets for Rachel Hampson. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Renee to continue talking about all the things that she has done. We started with the little basement room booth in the STEAM Academy and has grown this major platform, this major music phenomenon that is Overtones Live.
Well, thank you, Mark. Warren and I are just sitting there chuckling about that, and also it's just in just pure joy and happiness. And we just want to thank you for your confidence in us, really from the very early going. And I will say that last night when we were talking on Adam's show, Warren and I we were kind of recollecting those early moments when Warren will tell you the story about, like, I didn't really necessarily think I had the confidence to do this, but he had the confidence in me. So we sat down literally on a dinner napkin, probably out eating somewhere, and started thinking about, after talking to Mary Clark, who was here at the time, and was looking for a way to just have a music show that was just a little bit different than what you would normally hear. And we selected the name Overtones. I remember we were just driving down a country road, and that came to us that overtones represent those tones that kind of hover above the actual frequency that you're hearing. And we kind of thought about this as it's like the story really that's being told behind the music. And we were big fans of that Behind the Music VH1 series that was on, to just kind of make it into that. And we have collected so many stories along with the original songs. I think at our hearts, Warren and I at this point are preservationists. And that's a very important component of what we do. We're trying to archive as much music as we possibly can for future generations to enjoy on all these platforms we have now, but also the platforms that are yet to come that we don't even know about. And I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but...
Well, I think you covered it pretty well.
He's such a good sport.
Yeah, I think, in the beginning, it had a lot more to do with just sort of convincing you that you could do it. Because you were like, I've never done radio. And I was like, well, so what? Try it. Right. You might like it. And now I think I've brought her over to the other side of live radio with Adam, because there's no editing. It's
right. It is what it is.
And it's great, so... And they're having a blast and really work well together, and just have a great concept putting his show and her show together. Yeah. But the funny thing, starting out, we always had kind of an inside joke, and I always told her, I said, honey, you're going to be the biggest thing inside New Circle Road. Because at the time I couldn't really hear it much outside New Circle Road, right? Depending on what side of town you're on, so that was just our little thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because little footprint, and that's what it's a little tiny platform, but boom, and off it goes.
Yeah, well, and it just goes to show if you persevere and you try to do good work, and you find folks that make good music and their hearts are in the right place, whether they're trying to have a professional music career or not. There's a lot of part-time musicians that are just fabulous, that put out records and don't have any way of getting that heard, So this gives them an opportunity to promote their music and just and mom and dad can hear it, if nothing else, the family and whatever, and they have that forever, So yeah, I just love everything about it, and we're so grateful that we were able to do this, and that it's grown from where it started, and like you mentioned earlier, we are on other stations across the state have picked up the show and added it to their lineup.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, and I think what you were talking about earlier in helping up-and-coming artists get more gigs and get more visibility, to be able to say you're on FM radio is something that not every local artist is going to be able to say.
It's not a small thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And I will just say that, I think on Labor Day I came across a quote from Hugh Laurie, who used to play Dr. House, as some people may know. And I had the opportunity, after watching him play House on, Fox for years, to come and play at Miami University about 10 years ago. And I had no idea that he had this whole musical jazz, New Orleans type of love of music. But I saw a really meme last week that said, one needs no reason to, basically explain why they love music or why they do music. He said, music is a driving force of everything. And I think what Warren and I try to do is meet people where they are at, because we don't need to question why people are doing what they do when it comes to music. I don't care what it is, right? Everybody has something. With me, I have a 100-year-old family tradition, and that's been passed down from generation to generation with Appalachian music. Sitting at home with all of these musicians come into our house. Most of them are our family members every Sunday. And, at the time, not really knowing how to embrace that and how to really appreciate it. And now I look back on it, it's just like, and my dad has been in a process of really cataloging almost everything that the family has done. And he does it the old-fashioned way. It's called go to the printer and go to the library and look on the microfiche. And
wow.
He's made all of these copies of, like, whenever anybody was in the newspaper. We've got binders that are like that thick.
Oh, wow.
And, one does not need to explain why they do anything. And I think there's a movement right now. Everybody's wondering, why do you do that? Why do you do this? Why does that artist doing that? Why is he performing here? Why is she doing, radio? That we don't need to question that ever. It is in our soul, and it's just one indivisible whole of who we are as humanity. And that's the way that I look at it. And as another thing, we've been able to connect with some really awesome people. And one of those is Rachel Crowe's father, who passed away earlier this year. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is you just heard Old Lovers, which was Rachel Crowe's song, but her father co-wrote that song. And it has been nominated for Song of the Year for the Josie Music Awards.
Oh, wow.
So these are just some of the ongoing legacies that really happen in the stories behind what happens on Overtones. That's one great story. Another one has been getting to meet and work with Holly Forbes, who was on NBC's The Voice on season 21, top 10 finalist, and finding out that she was from my zip code of 41129 and really connecting with her. We have a song coming up that she has written. It's called Stronger, Raise Your Hands, and it is an anthem actually to strong women, and it's going to be the theme song for a TV show that Warren and I will be producing called Remarkably Purposed.
And all of my ladies, put your fist up to the sky. So many babies being born without a home. river without a bow. So raise your hands if you're slipping off the edge sometimes, and raise your hands if you're feeling low, and raise your voice. You are stronger than you'll ever know, and raise your hands. My grandfather baptized me in the little sandy river. I nearly froze to death. It was the middle of winter. But if it saved my soul, then at least it's worth the pain. Hey, hey. So raise your hands if you're slipping off the edge sometimes, and raise your hands if you're feeling low, and raise your voice. You are stronger than you'll ever know, and raise your hands. Whoa, and raise your hands. Whoa, raise your hands. Oh, we're all slipping off the edge sometimes. And raise your hands. You ain't gotta feel alone. And raise your hands if you're slipping off the edge sometimes. And raise your hands if you feel alone. And raise your voice. You are stronger than you'll ever know. And raise your hands. I want you to raise your hands. I want you to raise your hands. Say, raise your hands. I want you to raise your hands. Whoa. And raise your hands. And raise your hands. I want you to raise